From Glassboro High School, we've got South Jersey Group 1 semifinal action between the Salem Rams and the Glassboro Bulldogs on a brisk Friday night to close out our DWB triple header here on Teacher Convention Weekend. I'm Dan Wilkins. I'm joined by Chase Barnes today, and well, this will be an interesting game on all fronts as, well, the camera's definitely been giving us some issues today. I apologize for that. We're going to try to diagnose everything that we can with this broadcast as soon as we can. I have no idea why everything's freezing up. We've been having problems all day. I apologize. I'm pretty upset about it. He's got room! Okay, video. Well, we got the opening kickoff missed. We're dealing with some severe technical difficulties. I apologize. Going to try to get this all sorted out, but for now, let's we'll at least bring up the scoreboard, but again, I have no idea. 1st and 10 for Glassboro. They're off midfield. O'Connell gets hit as he throws. Pass is incomplete. O'Connell was under pressure from start to finish that time. Again, we apologize for everything that's been going on tonight. I can't even. Team versus Kip Cooper in a road playoff win, 47-0. That pass is caught on the near sideline. They say that it is a catch. On the near sideline. They say that it is a catch. That's brought in by number 3. Don't have a number. That's brought in by number 3. Don't have a number 3 on my roster. So that looks like Kaisir Muhammad, which on NJ.com is listed as number 24, but we'll make that correction in due time. Thomas looking over to the far sideline. Rolling through the middle. Oh, he got hit on his way down. Salem's going to get a good opportunity here on the rush by the junior Jamal Shockley. Actually, it looked like Kashmir Parsley that time. The freshman back with 70 rushing attempts, just under 500 yards. Okay, I think we're okay. I think we've emerged as a survivor of whatever's been happening today. Maybe I just jinxed myself. What you missed, as O'Connell's going to break free, he's going to get hit hard, and he's going to get capped at a loss or a gain of about 5 yards. What you missed on the first play of Glassboro's second drive. First of all, let's recap everything that you might have missed. Obviously, 0-0s on the score. Haven't missed a score yet, but what you have missed, Salem went 3 and out on their first drive. They punted. Glassboro took over from their own 40. Just 2 plays into Glassboro's first drive, O'Connell was fumbled. He had a forced fumble against him by a Salem defensive lineman. Salem took over. They got up to the 8-yard line, but their drive was stopped short, and they were unable to get in the end zone. Eventually, multiple penalties backed them up to 4th and 25. And they eventually were unable to get into the end zone, bringing out the punt team on 4th and goal. Here's O'Connell, dropping back, deep, pass, caught over the middle, and wrestled to the ground hard. It's number 0, Mekhi Parker, one of many Glassboro players with Division I looks and Division I attention. That's a first down for the Bulldogs. And they move this one up all the way to the 41-yard line. So Mekhi Parker makes a great catch over the middle. And again, O'Connell, originally a transfer from Gateway Regional in Woodbury Heights, enters his second playoff game of the year. Whoa, got some heavy movement. We'll see who gets called. It will be a false start against Glassboro, knocking them back to 1st and 15, right around the 47-yard line. Already 2:30 to play in the first quarter. Again, I'm Dan Wilkins. I'm joined by Chase Barnes on the production today. For those that are just joining in, I sincerely apologize for all of the technical issues we've had today. I don't even know if people heard it, but this is our 3rd game of the day. I have been working since 8:30 this morning. We were in Cinnaminson for boys soccer playoffs to start the day. Then we went down to Alcyon Park in Pittman. This is our 3rd game of the day. I don't know what the root of the issue is, but hopefully we find a short solution. Saab got the pitch in front of him by O'Connell, and he'll go out of bounds just about a yard or 2 in front of the line of scrimmage. Taken down, it looked like, by number 5. Again, just kind of working their way back into it. Even the false start penalty was unable to really get anything going. Then got knocked back to 1st and 15 after a strong catch by Mekhi Parker in open coverage, in open space. By the way, in Central Jersey Group 5, Washington Township took the lead over Rancocas Valley, 7-0. A 67-yard field goal return made it 7-0 with 5:15 to play in the first. And for South Jersey Group 1, don't forget the other game tomorrow, Shalleck and Paulsboro. We'll be there for that. So if you're a Glassboro or a Salem fan who wants to catch up on Group 1, we'll be there tomorrow. This is a deep ball, right side. Who comes up with it? Ball came out, incomplete. And Salem breaks up the pass on 2nd and long. Although I wouldn't celebrate too much because O'Connell can make that play 9 times out of 10, and maybe he'll find Saab in the end zone. No score here late in the first quarter. Both teams have had several drives go unsuccessful as now Glassboro lines up 3rd and long. 52 seconds remain in the first quarter here from Marvin Slomski Stadium. Just a couple of minutes from, actually just right across the street from Rowan University on a Friday night here in Glassboro. O'Connell steady in the pocket, throws, line drive over the middle, and it's incomplete. That will set up an interesting situation for the Rams as now a timeout is called by, no, it's going to be roughing the passer on a flag. That is huge, and that should be from a first down here. Again, O'Connell threw over the middle, didn't really find anybody, but the referees called it roughing the passer. That'll be, should be a first. Again, it's not automatic, but it depends on where the ball is spotted, and it looked like Glassboro was inside 15 yards of a first, so they'll move this one up with 47 seconds to play. Again, as we tail into the end of the first quarter, we welcome you to Dan Wilkins Broadcasting coverage of the Salem Rams and the Glassboro Bulldogs. I'm Dan Wilkins, joined by Chase Barnes. We appreciate your patience in us covering today's game. It's been a little bit all over the place today. 1st and 10 from the 30. Right side. Spinning forward in a merry-go-round right there as Glassboro picks up a lot of yards, but another penalty flag. Holding on the offense. The rush was by number 5, Devon Barr. But a lot of penalty flags here in the early going. And we'll now try to find if, well, I mean, Glassboro already got a first down thanks to a roughing the passer call, but this should bring us into the end of the first quarter after one more snap. Brings us back to around 1st and 20. They're lined up. Ball is spotted at the 38. Glassboro in huddle. Under 30 seconds to play in the first quarter. Again, here from Marvin Slomski Stadium, just outside of a very busy Rowan University. O'Connell drops back, fires. This one's in another area code, and pass interference, and the ball came out, but no, it's a touchdown. That's a 2-for-1 Friday special. Pass interference and 6 points. Glassboro's on the board. Touchdown number 51 for Jack O'Connell, and he finds the back corner of the end zone. Pretty obvious defensive pass interference that time. And it comes around. I mean, it's one thing to get a DPI call. It's another thing to score on said DPI call. Just like Odell Beckham did a while back, although that one maybe not nearly as flashy, but it still got the job done. Excellent pass. We'll have the PAT attempted here. On to kick is Sal Esgro, and another flag comes in prior to the snap, or on the snap. It's encroachment on the defense. So that came in with 7 seconds left in the first quarter. Didn't know if we would have a scoreless first here in Glassboro. PAT, oh, we got a running into the kicker call. The PAT is good. Timmy Breaker pulling his guys off, and with 7 seconds left, it's the Bulldogs 7 and the Rams 0. We'll take a quick break. 7 seconds to play, 7 points for Glassboro on a fantastic 38-yard touchdown. Not to mention after a holding call. And Glassboro with a fantastic drive there to take a 7-0 lead. We'll have time for one more play. And look at where this is lined up. Talk about a short kickoff. The roughing the kicker call, that was a 15-yard penalty. Bring that up to the 40 on the other side. I mean, if he doesn't get a touchback here, I'd be incredibly shocked. This one is into the back of the end zone for a touchback. Really no surprises there, and Salem will have time for one more play in the first quarter. So Salem will take over. Again, if you're just joining us, we're here from Marvin Slomsky Stadium in Glassboro. A busy night all throughout Gloucester County. We were just in Alcyon Park for a thrilling South Jersey Group 1 boys soccer matchup where 13 seed Palmyra upset the number 5 seed Pittman Panthers 1-0. A penalty kick 50 minutes in, just at the start of the second half, was the only score of the game. And Palmyra will go on to play Haddon Township in the semifinals on Tuesday the 11th. 1st and 10. Again, 7.5 seconds are on the board. Really not enough time to really get anything going, but we'll see what Salem's got in the tank. 1st and 10, they're from the 20 after Esgro's touchback. He'll get about maybe 5 yards on the rush that time. Salem and Glassboro, some folks on the outer side exchanging a couple pleasantries. But at the end of the first quarter, Glassboro's got to be feeling good about themselves so far. But honestly, with how good Glassboro is, 7 points doesn't meet their standard. We'll be right back. It's the Bulldogs 7 and the Rams 0 after a quarter. From Glassboro High School, the Bulldog flag flying proudly tonight as Salem got 5 yards on their only play of the drive before quarter number 1 came to a close. As it's a bit of a chilly night. It's 56 right now. It was 61 during the day. It's going to get down into the 30s tonight, so bundle up. And winter is right on the horizon. That should note, we do have a date for our basketball schedule announcement. Monday night, December 1st. We right now have most of the schedule complete, but what we can tell you is that we'll be doing 38 high school basketball games in 9 different counties with over 70 different teams represented. Those are the numbers I can tell you. Just can't tell you when and where we're going. That one is going to be down, and now a late flag comes in from the near sideline. Might have been some extracurriculars there. Let's see what the head ref has to say about it. Multiple flags actually came in, so they must have seen the same infraction. Oh. Apologies there. Looked like our camera cut out for a second. That is an issue that I know I can fix, so we'll try to get that done as soon as possible during our next break. See what the penalty is here. Flag is waved off. So we're not sure what it would have been, but they decide to wave it off. This ball will be spotted from the, looks like second and short. Oh, we do have a sideline penalty against Glassboro. That is their second sideline infraction, meaning it is a 5-yard penalty. So that was the issue there. For sideline warnings, the first infraction is just a warning. That's why they call it a sideline warning. But then the infraction, second one, gets to a 5-yard penalty. And I believe any further infractions are 15-yard penalties. Clock is running. Salem looking over towards second-year head coach Kemp Carr on the sideline. Kemp Carr with a long history of coaching in Salem County. Of course, the former head coach at Pennsgrove before the John Emmel years. Carr, also a grad of Montclair State in the early 90s, was a defensive back. And of course, is a Salem County resident, or at least a former Salem County resident himself, growing up in Salem, going to Salem High School. He was a former athlete for the Rams, and then, of course, was the Pennsgrove head coach during some of their best seasons before John Emmel came around and really turned around the program. Salem not really going in a huddle. They're just mostly talking to the sideline, getting their commands. 2nd and 7. Throw over the middle, high pass. It's caught on the far sideline. That'll be first down. Caden Robinson brings down the catch that time. 646 receiving yards for the senior wideout. This season, 20 receptions, 365 receiving yards, and 6 touchdowns all told. Time running down a little bit slower than it actually is, it feels like. Just 2 minutes gone in the second quarter as here comes a pitch back to the right side. Oh, hello, and good night to you, sir. He got pummeled as the tackle made, or at least maybe the explosion made by Tasheen Butler on the rush by the freshman Kashmir Parsley. Whew. Really not making it easy. That might mean a Walgreens trip tomorrow morning for some ibuprofen, I'll tell you that much. That'll be a loss of 1. It'll be 2nd and 11 here. So yeah, Tasheen Butler, how about that? Making himself known on the big stage tonight here in Glassboro. Thomas drops back. He now fakes. He goes through the offensive line, gets taken down by his backside, gets about 2 yards, and a Glassboro player rolling over. I thought he was hurt, but it turns out he's okay. That was number 4, Maurice Davis Jr. Third and 9. Thomas going over to the second-year coach Kemp Carr to talk about him and get himself situated. And when we talk about Kemp Carr, we should also talk about Timmy Breaker, who recently earned the Philadelphia Eagles High School Coach of the Week earlier this month. He'll be honored by the Eagles in their game versus, I believe, the Giants on Week 18. But a former, also just like Kemp Carr, a former defensive back. This time, though, at at Delaware in the early 2010s. Timeout called by Salem. We'll take a quick break. 7:51 to play in the half. It's Glassboro 7, Salem 0. Back to action. 7:50 to play. Salem called their first timeout of the half. Thomas. Oh, jeez. Whoa. Oh, I got my alphabet tied up that time. Thomas' throw to the far sideline is incomplete. It's 4th and 9. So Salem, again, just such a promising second drive that they had. And actually it was their first drive of the game after they stripped Jack O'Connell, got a fumble. And then after all that, they got up to the 8, and then they just stalled out. And not only did they stall out, they started to go backwards. They really ran out of gas. They kept getting penalty after penalty after penalty. And before you know it, the first down marker is at the 2-yard line, and they're back up to 4th and 25. Try to fake punt, didn't get it to go. This time, though, in typical Group 1 fashion, I'll tell you this much. Got Thomas, the QB, to punt. It's a short punt. We've got penalty flags down. A couple of big hits coming around. And everybody's all discombobulated there. The punt looked like it rolled out around the 40-yard line, but a penalty flag came down in the middle of the punt. It is going to be on illegal shift against Salem. Again, our schedule for the week. Tomorrow in the afternoon, we've got the Shalleck Cougars and the Paulsboro Red Raiders in the semifinals of the South Jersey Group 1 playoffs. That will be our last football playoff game of the year. We are not permitted, at least at this time, until things get their act together to cover sectional finals for football or state semifinals or state finals. As much as I'd love to be there someday, we're not there yet. We don't have the proper channels, if you will. But we do have some crossover football coming up next week. We'll talk about that in a second. Tomorrow, we said Shalleck and Paulsboro. Sunday morning, how about some South Jersey NABA Championship ball? It's our last baseball game of the year, 9 a.m. from Fitzgerald Field in Haddon Heights. It's the South Jersey Lightning and the Sicklerville Phillies at 9 a.m. on Sunday morning. If you still would like to watch some baseball in mid-November, O'Connell fires a pass over the middle of Saab. It's complete. Diving forward, got taken out from underneath him. Excuse me, that's Parker. It is admittedly, even with the camera, it's hard to tell the jersey numbers from up here in the press box, so I apologize. First and 10. Sending a man in motion, that is Saab. Multiple flags come down, but they allowed a play to continue. Pass is broken up. Penalty against Glassboro. Devon Barr, the running back, was the intended receiver. He was the man in motion. So it is a 5-yard penalty. Just clarification, the illegal shift was the call on the play. First and 15. Glassboro lining up 2 receivers on the near sideline. Now penalty flag comes in from far out, and it's a delay of game. So it'll now be 1st and 20. Referees are throwing so much laundry on the field. We're glad that this broadcast isn't sponsored by a laundromat. Really, 1st and 20. A lot of flags tonight. Tell you this, referees don't really need an arm workout. They can just pull the flag from their back pocket and throw it 20 feet in the air. Would love to go back and watch what we have left of this stream and see how many penalty flags have been thrown tonight. I mean, it has been darn near baffling how many we've seen. Now, part of that can be indicative of a undisciplined team, but I would call Glassboro anything but undisciplined. You can't be 10-0 without being disciplined. And now we've got a 3rd straight stoppage. This time, though, Glassboro calls a timeout. Both teams have 2 remaining. We'll take a quick break. We are almost halfway through quarter number 2. 6:42 here on the East Coast. It's Salem 0, Glassboro 7. Glassboro called a timeout. They and Salem have 2 remaining. O'Connell with a quick dump off to Saab on the left side, and it's brought in. Of course, Amari Saab, when we were given the Glassboro roster, there is quite literally a tab of D1 offers that each player gets. And for the Saab brothers, they just put Alabama, Oregon, and 30 plus. I mean, listen, as for a team as good as Glassboro, it's fantastic to see. I mean, Timmy Breaker, he's in his 3rd season here at Glassboro, and Glassboro has always been good. Don't get me wrong. If you go back and watch the Gloucester County Cable Network, their archives of South Jersey Group 1 sectional finals, good chance Glassboro or Paulsboro are in them. On 2nd and 20, they're going to try to convert with one swing, and they're close to it. They get about 15 yards on the play. That'll be 3rd, and now we'll see where they put this. They put it a little bit farther away than I thought. They're all the way up to the 35. Must have had a knee down somewhere in his struggles, as it'll be now 3rd and 7. It's definitely manageable, a lot better than the 2nd and 20. .620 and counting. Cheerleaders pumped up on the sideline. And a good crowd on hand. Friday night, probably about 75, 80% full for a Group 1 stadium. Penalty flags. Pass is incomplete. O'Connell got hit as he threw. Let's see where this penalty flag comes from. And referees came in whistles well after the play. Two penalties here. So we've got an illegal shift and then an illegal man downfield, it looks like. So 2 penalties against Glassboro, and because they're not offsetting, it looks like it'll be combined. Let's see, with the side judge coming over to the Salem sideline. Referee still conferencing. Okay, so that the illegal shift, both penalties are declined. And honestly, that's not a bad idea. Already down by a score, you now set up 4th down. You saw earlier that on 2nd and 20, Glassboro made up a good chunk of the difference. You really don't want to give them another down. Probably would be a good idea to just send them the 4th down, try to stop them at the line, get as little movement as you can, or try to draw Glassboro into making a mistake of their own. They've certainly made a few tonight. More penalty flags. Oh my goodness. It's a false start. Wow. Yeah, I think I might spend a couple hours tomorrow morning seeing how many penalty flags we've had tonight. It is an absurd amount. I just heard somebody yell, "Get it together." I think that would be the right sentiment, because there's been bad flags on both teams. And again, if you look at the regular season, Glassboro beat Salem by 42 when they played Salem earlier this year. And who knows? We could be standing here for the postgame later tonight and talk about how well Glassboro played and how they blew the doors off of Salem. But right now, we're not there yet. 4th and 12, O'Connell working through. Doesn't have a lot of room, lets it fly. Nobody really close. And that'll be a turnover on downs. So Glassboro turns the ball over, and with 6 minutes left in the half, Salem shockingly close in this game. But the atmosphere of the playoffs always brings a bit of uncertainty to the table. You really never know who is going to be around. You never really know who's going to get hot at the right time. Think about Delsey in Group 3. They were a 7 seed last year and made it all the way to the sectional final. So it is not guaranteed, even though Glassboro has done so well. They've only allowed double-digit points versus 2 opponents this year. A very good, a very good Haddonfield team, 36-20. I believe they're the #1 seed in South Jersey Group 2. They are. They're playing excuse me, it's Delran and West Deptford, then Haddonfield and Lower Cape May. Ball got muffed. We've got another penalty flag. See what the penalty flag is here. So how many illegal shift calls are we going to see today? Because we're seeing a lot of them. This reminds me of a game that we had about 2 years ago between Palmyra and Gloucester Catholic. And there was Palmyra kept running a play that was illegal formation because they had 5 players in the backfield. But they just kept running it like 4 or 5 times in a quarter, and the referees kept calling it every time until the referee literally went over and said, you've got 5 guys in the backfield, you can't do that, and we're going to keep calling it until you stop doing it. But just a lot of penalties on both sides, and now Salem calls a timeout. We'll take a quick break. This might be the longest first half of my life. It's 7-0 Glassboro. We'll take a quick break. Glassboro 7, Salem 0 here from Marvin Slomsky Stadium. An illegal shift was called against Salem, and they called the timeout, their second of the half. Rolling out right side, they'll have a rush, but they get wrapped up, and Glassboro takes them down with authority. I just see a penalty flag come down. We do have a penalty flag coming down for the 1,000,000th time. Hold on, Salem. The rush was by Jelani Beverly. I mean, I heard somebody yell out, let them play, but if they are truly making this many mistakes, I would rather see it called, because I would rather have a long half or a long quarter of play than have genuine penalties go unchecked. Because you know what that does? That creates distrust between coaches and officials. If you don't call things just because you want to let them play and you're not calling it by the letter of the law, that really does strip away a lot of the trust that these coaches have. And you have to maintain that. So even though they are calling everything under the sun they can see, look at Salem with a very tight trips right. They do send a man in motion, get that third receiver down. That pass is caught, and a penalty flag. We've got a penalty flag, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my goodness. Let's see what the call is. It's an illegal man downfield. Pass was caught by Ahmad Tucker. I really can't believe this. If you remember, Glassboro and Woodbury set a DWB record for the longest football game by just the time of the game. And I say that because the game went 3 hours and 19 minutes. Now, of course, that includes stoppages. But from the time we kicked off at 11 o'clock in the morning, the game ended 3 hours and 19 minutes later between Glassboro and Woodbury earlier this year. Thomas in trouble on 3rd and 23. Lets it fly. This is going to be picked off. Glassboro's got an interception. It's going to be moving in. He's got room. Open up a lane for the Glassboro Bulldogs. Parker in the end zone. Touchdown, Glassboro. Wow. That was a 60-yard return by Mekhi Parker. And Bulldogs lead by 13. That was a definition textbook pick six right there. And if there's any play that I thought we would see penalty flags on, it would be on an interception return. But we do not, and Esgro will go out for the PAT. Kick is up, away, and on the Rowan University Boulevard. 14-0, Glassboro leads. We'll take a quick break. They go up by 2 scores. From Glassboro High School, this broadcast is brought to you by our good friends at Rowan College of South Jersey. Let's realign that video. Look at that statue. That's a Bulldog dedicated by the class of 2014. But this broadcast is brought to you by Rowan College of South Jersey, New Jersey's premier community college with over 40 associate's degree programs and also premier athletic programs that are nationally ranked in NJSIAA competition. Visit rcsj.edu for academic information and visit rcroadrunners.com for athletic information. This broadcast is also brought to you by DAWG Pro Wrestling, the Dog Pro Wrestling, Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators, New Jersey's premier pro wrestling organization with high-flying events and nonstop entertainment throughout the Garden State. For booking and information on future events, visit dawgprowrestling.com. And if you're a small business owner who would like to become a sponsor of Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, send us an email with an advertising inquiry at thedanwilkinsshow@gmail.com. That email is in the description of our YouTube videos. Kickoff return by Salem is snuffed at the 25. I know that today is not necessarily a great sales pitch for being a sponsor of Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, but we appreciate everybody tuning in tonight for, the best experience that I can possibly try to give. Again, I think a lot of people understand how passionate I am about broadcasting, and when something goes wrong, especially on a major scale, I definitely I take it to heart. So thank you to everybody for sticking with us. And for those that are understanding, I appreciate your support, because we've done 620 broadcasts in the state of New Jersey over the last 4 years. A couple things go wrong from time to time, and we don't know exactly what the issue is, but I know for a 12 o'clock kickoff tomorrow, you can bet I'll be up late tonight trying to figure out what the issue is, and we will be back stronger than ever on Saturday morning. Passed by Thomas. Got thrown to the sideline there. Almost got picked off. Salem lost by 42 in the regular season matchup versus Glassboro. As we mentioned, they only allowed double-digit points versus 2 opponents this year. Haddonfield on opening night, and Woodbury in the game that we covered in late September. Second and 10 after the incompletion. The Glassboro marching band plays on to our left. Sometimes the Group 1 marching bands are the best ones. Some fantastic ones around South Jersey as Thomas lets it fly. This is going to be trouble, and it's incomplete on the near sideline. Tried to get it to a quick go route. Pass was intended for Davis, or it looks like it's actually like Quamir Bergen. A lot of young players on this Salem team. A couple of freshmen, Kavan Parsons, Quamir Bergen, he's a sophomore. That's the sign of a good program. We covered Clearview on Wednesday night, and if you know anything about Clearview, it's that They went 0-10. Even in a postseason consolation game, they lost 43-8. They came into their last home game of the season versus Pemberton on Wednesday night, and they won that game 27-0. It was their first win in 2 years, but so many freshmen and sophomores on that team, including the starting quarterback. As here comes a pass over the middle, it's caught, and Salem moves the sticks over the middle, moves the influence a little bit more. It's a first down, and it's stuck right on top of midfield at the 50-yard line. Salem being able to move the sticks. I mean, you know, listen, they have not scored versus Glassboro since their 2022 meeting when Salem won handily in Glassboro's 7-3 season, which was Breaker's first and yet the last time that he has lost a game. He's only lost 3 as the 30-year-old Glassboro head coach. This one is caught right side. This will be a first down. We've got a penalty flag, but it was, did the ball come out? That's a good question. Pass was caught, and now another flag comes in well after the play is over. I missed that first call. Holding on Salem. Remember how people were saying we were done with the flags tonight? No, we're not. It's an unsportsmanlike against Salem, so double whammy against the Rams. Let's see how far they bring this one back. But again, Salem had so much momentum, had one good catch, had a second one on the way, and then this happened. Oh boy, they're back at the 27-yard line. So that is going to be, it would normally be at the 35. So that's, oh, let's see, 20, that's, how about a 1st and 22 for your viewing pleasure? Time is of the essence. Interesting how Salem just takes commands directly from the head coach on the sideline. They're not really even getting in a huddle. You can see the Desmond Thomas, the quarterback, is just standing there. I don't see this very often. I guess just whisper down the lane to all 11 players. It's interesting, but I can imagine if you've got a good enough ear on the sideline, you can really whittle down what their play selection will be and probably can't leave too much to the imagination. Big hit that time. None other than Simmons. And it'll be second and even longer. This will be a loss of 3 yards. Under 2 minutes to play in the half. This is going to be second and 34. At that point, we just call it second and a country mile. They are taking a while here. I mean, that's the thing that Salem's doing. It's just like, we're waiting. Then they break, and they run it down. Ref is counting them down now. Minute 15. They take the snap. Thomas fakes, or did not fake the handoff. Had a good convincing fake. And running on second and 34. I don't know how much I like that idea, but Glassboro calls a timeout. Glassboro uses their second to last of the half, and both teams are now down to their last timeout. 1 minute and 9 to play. We'll take a quick break. Glassboro calls a timeout, one each way now for each team with 1 minute and 9 left in the first half. Stay tuned for the Dan Wilkins Broadcasting Archives program. For the next 15 minutes, you'll see the best of the best from our 4-year history, from walk-off hits to game-winning shots and much more. Hopefully we don't show the Devin Williams shot against Glassboro, which we covered and got on ESPN Sports Center. But, yeah, that'll be our halftime program. And then stay tuned for the Dan Wilkins Broadcasting halftime show presented by Harper Driving School. Next week on DWB, we mentioned tomorrow and Sunday. On Tuesday, November the 11th, we travel down to my college, Rowan College of South Jersey, for JUCO men's basketball between the Union Owls and the RCSJ Roadrunners. And on Wednesday, it's crossover football right down the road from Glassboro between my alma mater, the Audubon Green Wave, and the Pittman Panthers from Davis Field in Pittman. A Thanksgiving tune-up for both teams. 3rd and 32, and they have a QB keeper. And Glassboro, let's see who called the timeout here. It is Glassboro that calls the timeout. Most likely to preserve as much time as they can for a, kind of a 1-minute drill, or in this case, a sub-1-minute drill to end the half. I like the idea. I think that it's well thought out, and I think that, if you're Timmy Breaker, you have so much success under your belt that nobody really questions what you do. But you'll have 1 minute and 4 seconds left. Assuming that Salem will punt on 4th and 32, I think anything else would be improper or unwise, at least. Give Glassboro probably a spot from the 50-ish yard line and let Jack O'Connell rip into the end zone. See if he can get something good. So Glassboro breaking from their last timeout. Kempcar and Salem taking a little extra time. As we mentioned, Audubon and Pittman on Wednesday, and then some more Thanksgiving tune-up football on Thursday the 13th. We travel up to Cherry Hill for the Haddon Township Hawks and the Camden Catholic Irish. Camden Catholic prepping for their match with PVI. And then Friday, youth football, the Turkey Bowl between the Haddon Township Hawks and the Eastern Vikings. 14U football from Voorhees, 7 o'clock kickoff on Friday. And then to wrap up the week and wrap up this discussion point, JUCO basketball, a doubleheader on Saturday, November the 15th. It's the Luzerne County Trailblazers and the RCSJ Roadrunners. Women kick off at 12, and the men tip off at 2. Sab will be on the return. Getting wrapped up. Tried to misdirect Salem one too many times, and he gets down at around the 34-yard line. Glassboro is looking for a white Buick in a fire lane. Luckily, my car is not white or a Buick, but certainly drives like one. 1st and 10 from the 35-yard line. 51 seconds left. Glassboro, again, they called 2 timeouts before the half with the full intention of buying as much time as they can for a late drive and a late setup to go up by 3 scores at the half, which is a great idea in my opinion. I mean, Salem really was never going to go anywhere realistically. They were they were, 4th and 32. They were all the way back there. And then they punted, and it was actually a good punt for what it's worth, considering where Glassboro is starting this drive. From the 35, O'Connell rips through, finds a gap in the line, nobody home. Must have been a miscommunication somewhere because one receiver cut inside and was not going as far down the field as he intended. It'll be 2nd and 10. .5 seconds left. Second and 10. After a deep incompletion by O'Connell, line collapses. Looks like it was a handoff that doesn't get very far. And actually going to be a huge loss that time. At least maybe 6 yards. Well back there to the 29. That's going to be a loss of 6 yards. They'll roll this one down with 15 seconds left. I don't think they'll run one more play as coach is coming out of the upper box. Glassboro does break from their huddle, so they might have time for one more. They've got 5 seconds, counting down. O'Connell looking up at the scoreboard, looking at both sides. He does get the snap off in time as time expires. Right side, though, that pass is not going to go anywhere, and that will bring us to the half here in Glassboro. Again, we appreciate everybody sticking with us as Glassboro goes up by 2 scores at the half. They lead the Salem Rams 14-0 as a 38-yard touchdown catch by Saab and then a pick-6 return by Mekhi Parker brings us to the break. We'll take a quick break. Not that quick. We'll be back in about 15 minutes. And stay tuned for the Dan Wilkins Broadcasting Archives program.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month. It is the responsibility of all of us to make sure that our friends, family, and anybody who we hold dear in our lives is feeling well. The problem with spotting mental health issues is that the symptoms aren't that obvious. Just because someone is okay or appears okay on the outside doesn't mean that they're okay on the inside. It's important that if they are in distress, that they call the right people and they get the help that they need.
And it is very important that we treat each other with respect, regardless of who you are or where you come from. But it is just as important that we treat ourselves with respect, regardless of the situation going on in our lives.
If you're in distress, you can call this number, 988, or you can visit any of these websites if you're not in distress, but would like to learn more information about mental health awareness and research.
Book Dog Pro Wrestling for your next event or outing for the greatest action that New Jersey Pro Wrestling has to offer. Any place, any time, any setting, Dog Pro Wrestling will bring the action to you, and you won't want to miss it for moments like this. But don't just take it from me. Take it from Max Mundo, the Dog Pro Wrestling ambassador.
This is Max Mundo with Dog Pro Wrestling. Are you a civic organization, sporting club looking to fundraise? Then look no further to Dog Pro Wrestling. We do grand openings, corporate events, and much more.
And why not from some of the wrestling talent themselves?
I'm Vinny the Fixer, and I'm the champion of Dog Professional Wrestling. If you want to book the best, come see us. We're the cream of the crop. We'll come to any fundraiser you can think of. Just name the place and we'll show up.
This is the upstanding Dylan Mesh, and for the entirety of my professional wrestling career, dog wrestling has been a mainstay for where I like to wrestle. So you can believe me when I say that it is quality. And I'm upstanding. I'm the only opinion you need.
Yeah! It's your boy Gabriel Hodder here with my man Matthew Oman, and if you want your events to be all fight, no flight,
then book Dog Wrestling so you can witness true primal fear. Woo!
In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
Jersey is the number 2 seed. As we said, they beat Manville 19-0 in the first round, which was even larger than Audubon's 16-0 win over Paulsboro as the 1 seed in the first round. That one's hit out towards center field straight away. Oh, she misjudged it. Got over her head in center field. Now this one's got a chance to be 3 bases for Spire. She's flying around third. Here comes the throw to the plate. It is not in time. What a way to kick off a semifinal with an inside the park home run. Emma Spire
who will take her talents to the Great Danes after 2026, lights up the scoreboard. All that got misjudged in center field. And it gets past everybody. Graham will go back to position with. They'll count down the time out loud here. Out to the left. One final shot, and it gets through. How about a buzzer beater? How do you do? It's a lead extending goal for Justin Lewis.
Ugly to end the day for Luke Pokrovsky. Little pop-up, first base side, he calls for it, and for the first time in 33 years, the Charlotte Cougars will hoist the trophy and face Middlesex on Monday. 4-3, Cougars win it. And in the battle of green and gold, the trophy stays true with the visitors. What a finish! And Shalleck will pack their bags for Middlesex and the Blue Jays when the weekend turns around to Monday.
Epplite, he's, again, one time leaving the bases loaded is frustrating enough. Doing it twice in a row. Oh, how about this? Line drive. No, he's throwing it around the infield. They're going to throw him out at first. He's out. I have never seen that before. That is a 5-4-3 ground out because the third baseman thought he caught it. The home plate umpire said no, so he threw it around the infield and then got the out at first anyway because the batter thought he was out.
The batter stopped. The third baseman thought
Everybody
he caught
stopped.
it, and it touched.
And Argabright with a full count. Outfielders in communication for the Quakers. Everyone's looking around in a tie game, bottom of the sixth. The 3-2 payoff. Ground ball. It's going to get over the head of Tolbert into left field. That's a base hit. 2-run score. Argabright delivers when asked. 5-3. Alex Argabright has given the Golden Eagles a 5-3 lead in the bottom of the sixth inning.
So after the holding call to be 1st and 20, as now rolling out to the right side, he's got a little bit of room to run on a QB rush. He's going to get a first down. There's no flags, and how about this for 61 yards? Anthony Gaetano with a QB rush that works to perfection. He hugs the sideline, and Anthony Gaetano gets the scoring started for the Red Hawks at 7-6.
Jack Mastero, 2 for 3 with a strikeout, a double, and a single. Looking to play hero. He's going to line this one into right center field, and that's going to drop. That's going to do it if they don't get a throw down. Mastero's going to second, and Danza's coming home. Sectional champions, Gloucester Catholic. They do it in a walk-off fashion as GC with Mastero playing hero. An unbelievable.
Literally, they've been here twice, and they're about to score, or on the doorstep of scoring 50 for the second game in a row. Xavier Terry Brown. He is still on his feet. He's being shoved forward into the end zone. But who's got the ball? Look at Jason Solomon. The ball magically appeared in Woodbury's hands, and now they're back at the 50. This one's going back. This one's going to go to the distance. I don't see any flags. Did that just go for 100 yards? I think it did. I do not see any flags as Woodbury. Oh my goodness, Jason Solomon, have a day. He is the first man not named Taylor to score. Wow, that was good.
2 minutes remaining. 4 fouls on St. Joe's. 1 more and it's a bonus, which would greatly help Gloucester Catholic. The moving three good! It's a 1-point game just like that! This place is going nuts! And now a drive to the basket by Spross. He lays it up and lays it in! St. Joe's has 2 timeouts remaining. Gloucester Catholic still has 3. Here we go. Mascaro pulls up. He goes for 3! 6 points! Jack Mascaro has tied the game with 90 seconds remaining. How will the Wildcats respond with a miss of
One half down, one very almost pulling my hair out of my head broadcaster. I'm Dan Wilkins. Welcome back to the second half here from Glassboro High School. Even though we've had our own issues, I'll tell you who has had their own issues on the field. Salem and Glassboro. How about a penalty fest in the first half? So many different flags, so many different caveats to this game. But at the end of the day, after 2 quarters, Glassboro leads 14-0. Of course, they had a 38-yard touchdown pass to Saab, which was an incredible touchdown catch that also included defensive pass interference. But then a 60-yard pick six by Makai Parker put Glassboro up 2 scores. We almost had a scoreless first quarter, but that first touchdown we mentioned on, I believe it was 2nd and 25, also happened with under 10 seconds to play in the first. But still, 1 score in the first, 1 score in the second, and Glassboro definitely looks to add on more in the third and fourth quarters. And I'll tell you this, 14-0 at the half, that's below Glassboro's standard. And I'll tell you what, that shows how good of a team they are. They haven't lost since October of 2023 when they lost in the state final to Mountain Lakes over at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford. They went 13-0 last year. They knocked the rails off of Cedar Grove in the state final last year. But if you're a Glassboro fan or if you follow South Jersey Group 1 football, you already know that. You've known for 30 years how good Glassboro is. You know how good they are, how good their youth system is, how good that they are able to get players on the field. And with a young head coach like Timmy Breaker, I spoke with him before the game, and just listening to what he had to say to the players, he seemed extremely personable to the players. And I think that some coaches miss that sometimes. He's a young player. He's a young coach. He wears a cowboy hat on the sideline. He is extremely expressive. He is extremely passionate, and I feel like he's a perfect fit for Glassboro. And who knows, maybe someday this stadium will be renamed to Timothy Breaker Stadium. But right now, we're very early in his career, and in just 3 years, he's built up one heck of a resume. And as Glassboro looks to get to back-to-back state championships, don't forget, tomorrow we've got Shalleck and Paulsboro. Again, given any technical difficulties we may have, we're going to do our best to get it up and running. Point is, though, Shalleck and Paulsboro tomorrow will have its own caveats for Glassboro to watch. Shalleck has faced Glassboro the last 2 years in a row in the South Jersey Group 1 sectional championship, with Glassboro obviously winning both times. But the thing is, Glassboro isn't going to be facing the same Shalleck as they did in years prior if they get it done tomorrow afternoon versus Paulsboro. They're facing a new head coach in Mike Leamy. They're facing a new quarterback in Kenneth Barty and Gary Simonini, who split the deal behind under center for the Shalleck Cougars. Meanwhile, Paulsboro, they are down 16 players. A lot of you are aware of an altercation that happened on Saturday between Paulsboro and Woodbury that called the game early. The state investigated, and ultimately they decided to allow Paulsboro to remain in the tournament, but have a multitude of players disqualified for that event. So whether or not Glassboro will play Paulsboro or Shalleck on next Friday night, we don't know. And we still do have to get quarters number 3 and 4 in order. Should be noted, Salem and Glassboro have the same number of first downs today. They both have 5 first downs, but it certainly doesn't feel like it with how dominant Glassboro's defense has been. Brandon Simmons with 2 sacks and a handful of solo tackles. But you also have to consider the fact that Glassboro is just not a team that's going to give up a lot of yards. When they played Haddonfield on opening night, they won 36-20, but again, if you looked at the actual field of play, Haddonfield didn't run over them when they scored those 3 touchdowns. They were very methodical drives that really allowed Haddonfield to get somewhat of an edge, but other than that, it was smooth sailing from Glassboro from beginning to end. And as it stands right now, Glassboro very well could be on their way to their 11th win of the year and their 24th straight win in the Timmy Breaker era. But as it stands right now, let's talk about the positive for Salem. I actually like how their offense is being run, with the exception of running a QB sneak on 3rd and 34. That's the only thing I would have a major blemish against, but their passing seems to be decently well. I think they know how to read the Glassboro defensive line. You can get some takeaways from the fact that Salem has played Glassboro in the regular season earlier this year and last year, so there is a little bit of history. But as Glassboro breaks from their huddle, they take the field. The clock is going to hit 0 on the runoff halftime period. We're going to take a quick break as Glassboro hyping up the crowd. There's a lineman that is just getting everybody fired up. Wow, he is energetic. And so are we, to an extent. It's Glassboro 14, Salem 0 at the break. We'll take a quick break, flip this camera back around, and we've got the second half of South Jersey Group 1 semifinal football. Salem will kick off. Glassboro 2 return on their blackout home jerseys from Marvin Slavsky Stadium. I'm Dan Wilkins, joined by Chase Barnes on the production. Good of you to join us on this Friday night. That kick is going to go out of bounds. Took a sharp left turn. It was a shove in the middle of the pile there. Garnered some oohs and ahs, but the main attraction is that the ball went out of bounds at around the 30, so a kicking out of bounds penalty will be assessed against Salem. Glassboro up 14-0. Scored one at the end of the first, like literally at the end of the first quarter. Had about 7 seconds to spare on a 38-yard catch by Saab, which also gathered defensive pass interference. Really a 2-for-1 special, and then a 60-yard pick six by Mackay Parker gave Glassboro the 14-0 lead. Your halftime stats for the game, courtesy of Al Muskowitz of Riverview Sports Network. We appreciate his coverage of Salem County athletics. 5 first downs for each team. And, well, I'll tell you this, 80 passing yards for Glassboro. 38 of them were on that one passing touchdown alone. Barr is on the carry. Left side. Salem looking to take him down, and they do for a loss as he gets taken out of bounds. Looks like he's going to be maybe at the line of scrimmage. At best, a gain of 1, and it looks like that's what they're going to give him, a gain of 1, as Barr was able to cut in at the right time. And we want to talk about penalty yards. We were talking about how many flags there were. Salem has had 7 penalties for 70 yards. Oh, speaking of, we've got penalty flags, guys. Looks like it came in on the far sideline, and Salem is going to get tagged with a sideline warning. So Salem, 7 penalties for 70 yards. Glassboro with 6 penalties for 35 yards. So the fact that only 13 flags were called in the first half feels low. Make that 15. Actually, no, make that 16 because we've already had 3 flags called. That's a false start. I mean, listen, I joke. I do mess around a little bit, but I actually don't mind the fact that the referees are calling all these flags because you do have to call it by the letter of the law at any juncture, whether it's regular season, whether it's playoffs. I mean, as much as it might be kind of a groaning piece to have that, it's spinning around, picking up about 10 yards that time, gets himself up to the 45. As much as it might be discouraging to fans or as much as it might be frustrating to fans to have all of these penalty flags, I mean, they just got to be called. You can't just let them go for the sake of letting the kids play. I mean, it's different in basketball. When we go into the basketball season, yeah, there can be a little bit of leverage. But you can't just not call a false start or not call a hold. Speaking of penalty flags, it'll be a first down, but let's see if this gets brought back. Barr was on the carry, and he got all the way up to the 43 on the other side of the field. It is a hold. There's another one. But again, do we just expect the referees to not call holding? Like, it's a part of the game that imagine if it doesn't get called. Imagine how upset Salem would get. That's just my opinion. So even though there was a hold, there is a second infraction on a sideline warning against Salem. So that'll be a 5-yard penalty. I don't know how this would stack up unless they just say it's offsetting. Okay, so they did move it to 3rd and 9. Ball is spotted at the 40-yard line in Glassboro territory. The Bulldogs lead by 14 here on a brisk and pretty windy Friday night. If Glassboro does bring out the special teams unit for any reason, the wind would be blowing in their face. That definitely played a role in our soccer game earlier today between Palmyra and Pittman. 3rd and 9, diving forward and carrying Salem on his back. It's a first down. Glassboro waiting to emerge from the pile there as Barr picks up a first. A gain of 10. Moves the sticks, gets them over midfield. They're at the opposing 49. Handoff to the left side. Ball must have come out. Salem wants it. Where's this going to go? Salem looks excited. Let's see where they put it. 2nd and 6. Ball remains in Glassboro's hands. Second and 6. Dropping back right side. O'Connell almost got hit past it behind the line of scrimmage, but it was a forward pass on a flat to the right side. Got it just inside the pylon for the first down marker. Let's see where they spot this. First down marker is at the 39, and they'll be at the 43. So still several yards short here early in the third quarter. This game's been running for a while. Glassboro up by 2 scores. Salem and Glassboro, again, shockingly, has the equal amount of first downs at half. Now, of course, that has changed with Glassboro's drive so far. But as it stands, 3rd and 4. And again, each team had 5 first downs in the first half. Pass on the right side. Wrapped up at the line of scrimmage. Couldn't tell who fell on that one. Pass is incomplete. 4th and 4. If you're Glassboro here, I mean, how aggressive do you want to take this? I'm sure in the back of a lot of people's minds, they would say that Salem might not have much of a fighting chance. So if you go for it and you get a first down, it's high risk, high reward is what it boils down to, is where Glassboro can come up, pick up a couple yards, use Saab or Barr, and get a first down, get something going. And then by that point, if you get a first down, you're inside the 40, you can just keep on trugging from there. You can keep on moving and moving and moving. But Salem is going to crowd the line here. Wouldn't be surprised if they try to pass, though, for play action. No, they hand it off right side. Oh, he got hit hard, spilling over into the sideline. It's short, and Salem is going to take over on a turnover on downs. Looks like it might have been short by a yard on the far sideline, and the Rams will take over at their own 40. Breaker certainly not thrilled. So Salem will get the ball back. That's the 4th turnover of the game. 2 turnovers on downs, a fumble, and an interception. That pick 6 from earlier was just so odd, too. It felt like that Glassboro really shouldn't have gotten as far as they did with Parker, but a lane just opened up, and he really didn't have to move. He just hugged the near sideline the entire way. Salem didn't really give him a fair shake. 1st and 10, Thomas on a QB keep. Not going to get anywhere with that one. Backed up all the way to the 35. They'll say his knee was down at around the 37, so not as massive of a loss, but it's still 2nd and 13 here from their own 37. Second and 13, Salem lining up with 1 receiver on each side. They let them go. This is a bomb downfield. Too much mustard on that one as the pass comes up dry. The intended receiver on the near sideline, number 8. And Salem will now have 3rd and 13. So now that we got the roster situated, that pass was intended for number 8 on the near sideline, Quamir Bergen. Interesting, they have it sorted by class, seniors, freshmen. Grand total of 10 seniors on the Salem team, but they nearly have as many freshmen and more sophomores in Kemp Carr's 2nd year as head coach. Floats it over the middle. That pass almost got picked off, but it's incomplete. Intended for the fullback over the middle, number 44, Antoine Rogers. And that will now set up 4th and 13. So they had 1 QB keeper that didn't go, 1 deep incompletion, 1 short incompletion, and now 4th down. Salem making personnel changes, looking like they're going to go out to punt. That's the thing that I don't really understand. Salem is very clearly the underdog in this game. If I'm Salem, I'm aggressive as I can be. I just took over a turnover on downs opportunity, stopped Glassboro a yard short. Why not fake it? Penalty flags. As Thomas was punting the ball away. Whoa, Salem. Wow, we've got some trouble. There was a Salem player who ripped a Glassboro player down, looked like almost by his face mask. Illegal formation called on Glassboro, but I'm hoping we saw that with Jenkins. Or pardon, Rogers, number 44. Yeah, you can see it on the left side of your screen now that I'm looking at it. Just as a disclosure, we won't have any replays tonight because I don't want to mess with the replay system just in case anything goes wrong with the broadcast. But, yeah, just looking on the left side of my screen on the YouTube replay, if you rewind the tape, it does look like might have had a face mask there on Rogers. Glassboro restarts their drive here. 7:32 left to play in the 3rd. An active Rowan campus lingers to our left and just inside in the intimate venue of Marvin Slomsky Stadium in Glassboro. Whistles. False start. This game may never end. I mentioned before that the game that we covered between Glassboro and Woodbury earlier this year went 3 hours and 19 minutes. The game kicked off 10 minutes late at 11:10. We weren't out of Woodbury by 3:30 until 3:30 in the afternoon. And when I look at this crowd tonight, and I think if Glassboro advances to the South Jersey Group 1 sectional final, the crowd is mostly full. There's a lot of fans along the outer edge. The visiting crowd is pretty much full. Here
comes a hand. Oh, no, fakes the handoff. Passes really not going anywhere. The far side. O'Connell incomplete. Hold on. Another whistle comes in and a late flag for good measure. If a flag came in that late, it's either a sideline warning or maybe a personal foul, an unsportsmanlike of some kind. Legal man downfield and an unsportsmanlike against Glassboro. So that's 2 penalties. So an illegal man downfield and an unsportsmanlike penalty. By the way, we have some more out-of-town scores from around South Jersey. Washington Township leads Rancocas Valley 31-7 in the third quarter. Washington Township, the number 1 seed in South Jersey Group 5. Seeing what else we can find, Delran leads 7-6 over West Deptford late in the first half. Millville leads Northern Burlington 21-0 early in the third quarter of South Jersey Group 4. Northern Burlington, the 6th seed in that bracket. So this is now 1st and 35. And if Glassboro converts here, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. This is how good they are. O'Connell will go back into the under center position. We continue to roll. Clock runs. O'Connell hands off. Good idea to run there. Try to get as many yards as you can on the first play. Because when you have a penalty that backs you up that far and you have an impossibly long drive, it's kind of like climbing a mountain. It looks intimidating, but if you take it one step at a time, you can get there. And I think that's what Glassboro is going for here. They didn't really get anything out of it. They got maybe 2 yards to bring up second, and it looks like 33. I can't say for sure, but what if you pass here, get 10 yards, run a slant, move your receiver, Saab, from the left, cut him over to the middle, try to get 10 yards here, 10 yards there, and you're almost at a first down. They do hand it off to Barr on the left side. He's got plenty of space. Ball comes out. Scramble on the 45. Salem says they have it. Referees have to break up the pile. Let's see here. Again, Salem had their hands up first. They've got to get everybody separated here. Referees got to tell everybody to back away, not interfere with how they're going to decide this. The referees are still standing over the pile. Salem thinks they have it. Who has it? We don't have a signal yet. DeLeese was on the carry. It is retained by Glassboro. Wow, that's a huge break. Would have been Salem's second fumble recovery of the day, although that one wouldn't have been a forced fumble by what it's worth. They now set up 3rd and 4. Did I mention that it was 1st and 35? Excuse me, it's 3rd and 4. Did I mention that it was 1st and 35 about 45 seconds ago? Penalty flags. False start. Make that 3rd and 9. Oh, my goodness. 3rd and 9. We're in for the long haul tonight, folks. I mean, we got 5:27 in the third quarter. After this drive, you might have time to get some popcorn in the microwave, cook up a couple leftover slices of pizza. We're going to be here for a while. With all these penalty flags, we are going to be here for a long time. O'Connell, handoff, spinning his bar. He's going to get a first down. Lowers the shoulder and gets forward, and now a flag. Second flag, third flag. Come on down. It's the Price is Right. 3 flags.
I can only laugh at this point. I mean, Glassboro is getting increasingly upset by how many flags have been called. There were 3 on that play. Not sure for how many infractions. There were 3 flags called at 3 different intervals. Clock stopped with 5:01. Head ref, you can see all 4 referees there talking it over. Personal foul against Glassboro. Unsportsmanlike against Glassboro. So here we go again. So that was 2 penalties against Glassboro. We're going to go right back to where we started. Oh, my goodness. I mean, seriously. I have never seen this before. 3 flags came in for 2 infractions. So it'll now be 3rd and 24. And now Glassboro calls a timeout. So Glassboro, we'll stay right here. Glassboro calls their first timeout of the half. I mean, let's just debrief for a second. This drive with 1st and 10 from the 40. Then they get 2 fouls, an unsportsmanlike conduct call, and I think a holding call. Then it was 1st and 35. Then they got up to 3rd and 4. They're 4 yards away. False start, 3rd and 9. Glassboro gets up. Devon Barr spun around, got a first down, and then 2 more flags came in for an unsportsmanlike conduct and a personal foul. So we are basically right back to where we started. So 3 downs, 2 flags, and a partridge in a pear tree. We've got 5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. 3rd and 24. This is, I can't believe this. Third and 24. Welcome back, folks. Jack O'Connell hands it off, up the middle, and he is down. Hard hit at the 40, but he will get within 10 yards of a first, and it will set up 4th and 10. Hold on, whistles. And now, do we have a timeout? Injury timeout, okay. So, I apologize, folks. I mean, listen, we have the live stream running. We had a kind of a rocky first quarter with how everything operated. That is Devon Barr, who looks like he's getting attention and getting helped off the field. But, I try to keep my professionalism here, but man, 3 games in a day. All 3 of them have had technical difficulties. And right now we got about 300 of you guys watching this ball game, this great ball game between Salem and Glassboro that right now is moving along at a snail's pace. This will be punted. O'Connell, the quarterback, punts. It will go out of bounds at right around the 42-yard line. And this will be Salem ball after all of that. So we had 1st and 35, 3rd and 4, and 3rd and 23 in the same drive. Welcome to Group 1 football, ladies and gentlemen. You don't get much better than this. 4:33 left in quarter number 3. Salem will get ready to start their drive. This broadcast is brought to you by our good friends over at Harper Driving School. Over 90% of students who take their New Jersey State driving test with Harper pass on the first attempt. If you like the odds, book an appointment today at Suite 4 of the Total Turf Complex in Pittman at 614 Lambs Road. Also brought to you by Gray Fox Sports, premier sports photography right in your backyard. Visit grayfoxsports.net or Gray Fox Sports on Instagram for information on future bookings. Again, don't forget tonight, I know the broadcast quality is not that great. We are recording a local copy, so you will be able to watch the game in hopefully 1080p tomorrow morning if you'd like to watch a crisper replay of the game. Salem trying to stay up on their feet, and after breaking a couple tackles, they'll muster about a yard. Looked like the rush was by number 20, Kashmir Parsley. One of 8 freshmen on the varsity roster, including Ahmad Tucker, Kivion Parsons, who has had a reception tonight, and Kashmir Parsley. And Glassboro's band playing on 2nd and 9. I always love the marching band. Every time we have a game where there's no marching band, everything feels so quiet and discombobulated. This feels like it brings order back to the world, you know. Thomas on a QB keeper. Glassboro's defense read that one like a book. They hold them up at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd and about 8. So maybe he got a yard, but really didn't get much other than that. Again, Salem kind of in this unusual formation where they set up. They don't even go into a huddle. They just listen to Kemp Carr on the sideline, and I don't know if I was on the right side of the field if I could hear him that well, but I don't know. Thomas fires a pass. Oh, so close to an interception. Glassboro upset that they didn't get one as the pass was intended over the middle for number 3, the senior Kaisir Muhammad. The pass was broken up and almost picked off by senior Julian Baxter, who has only had 1 total tackle this year and 2 rushes. Kenny Johnson. Okay, never mind. That is not Baxter. That is the much more realistic Kenny Johnson, who has 113 total tackles in his career and 5 interceptions. So again, we try to work with what we have the best we can. Oh, they switched it up today. That would make sense as to why it wasn't up to date. This one bounces. Salem is going to let this one roll, and they pick it up a little bit prematurely as they saw that they weren't going to get too much out of it. They send Glassboro back to the 29-yard line, and with 2:44 to play in the 3rd quarter. This is what we mentioned about the playoffs. Games get tough in the playoffs, and coaches stress it all the time, especially when they beat this opponent by so much in the regular season. They beat Salem 42-0 at home in the regular season. But here late in the 3rd quarter, they're only up by 14 points. Now, to be fair, that could very well change, and Glassboro could riff off touchdown after touchdown, and we could very well get to that blowout range later on tonight. But they've only got 14 and 46 minutes to do it across the remainder of quarter number 3 and the rest of the 4th quarter. So really, for Glassboro, shows what the pressure of the playoff means. When they play either Shalleck or Paulsboro on next Friday the 14th in the sectional final, it'll be interesting to see, because you know who they've played during the regular season? They played Paulsboro. No, they didn't play Paulsboro, did they? I'm tripping over my own words here. No, they played Shalleck, and they beat them 35-7. They did not play Paulsboro, though. But Glassboro's road to a state championship was so good that they only allowed 14 points in the state championship. And if you remember anything about how good that game was, how about the senior Kenny Smith, 402 rushing yards? Boy, they would wish to have him this year. Left side, but they do seem to be fine without him. Penalty flag. Keeping himself on his feet. We'll see if this is a moot point or not. Amari Saab picked up a lot of yards that time. It's a hold against Glassboro. With under 2 minutes left, they bring him back, and with this being 10 yards to the spot of the foul, so Saab on the run, it gets called back for holding. But Glassboro last year
They had 3 regular season shutouts, ended the regular season 9-0, scored 64 points in their first-round playoff game versus Point Pleasant Beach, scored 55 versus Riverside. They won the sectional championship 40-9, and they won the state semifinal 36-0. Do you know how good you have to be to win a state semifinal in a shutout in running clock territory? I don't like to praise one team or the other too much because there are a lot of qualities to like about Salem. But I just kind of want it to be known, put it in the bigger picture. See how good this team is. And, of course, Salem has been great for a while as well, as there's a little scrum at the end of the play. Salem trying to get him separated. I mean, he drove him down, and then he put his hands up. No flags, though. 2nd and 11. Now we've got whistles here. Do we have a timeout? Or it looks like the referees are just conferencing here. Now a penalty it's called against Glassboro. So Glassboro will go back in the huddle. Referees picking up the ball. They'll re-spot it. I mean, this game is moving so slow, I can't really get excited about it. Like, I'm excited to be here, obviously. But, again, I'm very grateful for Glassboro's athletic director and, of course, Timmy Breaker for having us out here. This is our 80th football game over the last 3 years, and this is our first time in Glassboro. I mean, I'm right around the corner from this and from Rowan University. I pass by this place almost every day on my way to work. And, I mean, listen, this is our first time here. So I'm grateful to be here, but it's hard to get excited when a game is moving so slowly. 2nd and very long. That rush, Salem reads it, and they'll take him down. Another Glassboro player went down at the end of the play, but Salem picks up a huge loss on the rush that time. .45 seconds to play. Glassboro taking their time, getting to the huddle. By the way, if you're looking for an update on Central Jersey Group 5, Washington Township leads. Actually, Rancocas Valley starting to come back. 37-20. Washington Township leads. 10 minutes left in the 4th quarter. Dropping back. This one is deep, right side. In the air. Did he come down with it? No, it's incomplete. And the pass comes up empty in double coverage on the far sideline with 10 seconds to play in the 3rd. This is 4th and 27. O'Connell is going to punt out of the end zone. He's standing just behind the goal line. O'Connell almost got blocked. This punt is just going to slam into the grass. Glassboro will pick it up. Salem twitched towards the ball briefly, but it will be picked up at the 37, and man, it's 8:03. We've been here for 2 hours, and we have to play another quarter of football. It's been a slow-moving game, and with no movement since the halftime break, we don't really have much to report on. At the end of the 3rd, it's Salem 0, Glassboro 14. 3 quarters down, 1 to go. Salem received the punt at the very end of the third quarter. A low snap to Thomas. 1st and 10. Pass is incomplete on the far side. And a flag.
Listen to the eruption of the crowd as that flag was called. I mean, it's almost expected at this point. The pass was incomplete. I mean, you can hear Glassboro's frustration, and whether or not you agree with it, I mean, there's just so much happening tonight. This is a scrappy game of Group 1 football. And when you watch Group 1 football, and trust me, I've watched a lot of it, we've had games that are flag fests. We've had games where a lot of teams make a lot of mistakes in Group 1 football. There isn't as much polishedness, I guess you could say. And honestly, Group 1 football, there's a nuance in it where it's unvarnished, but it's a good kind of unvarnished, where you really see the true emotion and you really see a lot about what a team can do with so little, excuse me. But right now, I mean, there's a lot of flags being called tonight. Rush over the middle. That penalty moved them up to the 23-yard line on 1st and 10. They didn't really get too far on that one. Clock is running, 11:20 left in the fourth quarter. Salem on the doorstep of the red zone. 2nd and 10 from the 23. Thomas drops back. In trouble on the right side. Lets it fly. It's caught. Oh, he got hit hard, but the pass is incomplete. Got hit right around the midsection that time as the pass comes up empty on the far sideline. 3rd and 10 from the 24. Third and 10. Third and 10. Trips left. Thomas in trouble. Gets out of it, fires a pass to the right side, and it's incomplete. 4th and 10, so 3 straight incompletions by the Rams. That'll bring up 4th and 10. Thomas waiting for instructions from the far sideline. Again, a handful of incompletions. Although, I should say, both of these teams are heavy passing offenses. Both quarterbacks have passed for over 150 attempts this year. O'Connell and Thomas right around the 55 to 57% completion range. So, yeah, you're going to get quarterbacks that are going to drop some passes, and it's going to slow the game down. I think we're sometimes a little bit too used to the game that's just rush, pass. Now that throw is over the middle. 4th and 10 incompletion. That'll be another turnover on downs. Pass was intended on a slant for the freshman Kivion Parsons. And with 10:57 to play in regulation, it's Glassboro 14, Salem 0, same score as it was at halftime. Glassboro back on offense after a turnover on downs with 4 straight incompletions. Rush to the right side. Salem looking to close the gap. Oh, they hit him 6 ways from Sunday. And DeLeese
was on the carry. Looked like he got up to around the 25, which doesn't honestly bring him that far. It'll just be a yard gain. Yard, maybe a yard and a half. O'Connell regains the huddle for Glassboro in their home black jerseys. Black jerseys with red numbers, yellow accents. Salem in their visiting white jerseys with the bright blue helmets and gray pants. Handoff. See how far he can get on this one. Going to be stopped at the line of scrimmage. Couple of tackles there. Devon Barr was able to muster about 3 yards that time. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow morning, whether you're a Glassboro fan or a Salem fan. If you want to see who's going to play in the South Jersey Group 1 final on Friday, November the 14th, we've got both ends of this South Jersey Group 1 semifinal bracket because tomorrow we'll be at Glenn Howard Stadium in Paulsboro, hopefully with a better setup with the Shalla Cougars, the 6-seed Shalla Cougars, and the 2-seed Paulsboro Red Raiders. 12 noon kickoff tomorrow if you can't make it Saturday in person. 3rd and 5. Looked like he might have been down, but he stayed on his feet. This is going to be close. See where Glassboro ends up on this one. DeLeese was able to get enough for a first down. Well, it feels like the first time in a while Glassboro has had a good first down. I mean, they've worked hard for that one. First and 10. Glassboro on their own 34. O'Connell hands it off to the right side. Barr has some space, gets tripped up. It was almost the last line of defense for Salem. If they don't get that tackle, I don't know how far Glassboro would have been able to be stopped. I think that was basically one level of separation away from being 6 points, but it was tackled by the senior Jelani Beverly. First and 10, Glassboro from their own 47. So I think we do have some Paulsboro folks checking in for tonight's game because that is going to matter. When these games happen on different days, Salem jumped. About 2 nose tackles jumped that time. That'll be offsides on Salem. Move them up to 1st and 5. They're across midfield. But think about it during the playoffs. During the first round of the playoffs, Halloween night was an issue for some. Glassboro played their first round home game versus Audubon, versus my alma mater on Thursday night, winning 41-0. First and 5 after the offside. Saab spinning forward. He's got about 6, maybe 7 yards, and he'll get that one for a first down. Again, a gain of, let's see here, he's at the 42. So it is a gain of 6. O'Connell will regain the huddle. Another jump, but it's not called. Might have not crossed the plane. That one's going to be to Saab. Got some space. Near sideline. Out at the 5. Oh, and he took down a ref while he was at it. Salem, with their player going out of bounds, almost took out the ref from below the waist. But how about Saab getting all the way up to the 5-yard line, even closer. No, he's right on the 5. Huge gain that time for the Bulldogs as they look to go up by 3 scores after a dormant third quarter and a near dormant first quarter.
First and goal. They drop the sticks. Handoff. Sab. Into the end zone. Touchdown, Glassboro. You heard the silence as we awaited for a result, and Glassboro's up 3 scores, and with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, blinking you'll miss it, this one might be over. There is a player down on the Salem side. So a Salem player is down with an injury right on the goal line, but it's a 5-yard rush for Sab to get into the end zone. Again, the player that can be best described on Glassboro's roster as having 30-plus Division I offers. The number 1 ranked player in the class of 2027. And again, they attend to that player on the near side. So it's 20-0 Glassboro. Again, a win tonight would put them in their 3rd straight South Jersey Group 1 final. Both years were versus Shalleck. And if Shalleck beats a weakened Paulsboro team tomorrow, it would be 3 in a row. And as far as I'm concerned, with state semifinals, I believe the neutral sites, not the neutral sites, but the hosts were Central teams last year. So I believe that Glassboro would host a state semifinal if they got that far. Because it does alternate from South hosts to Central hosts. Glassboro will go out for the PAT. Again, game kicked off at 6 o'clock. Right now, the length of the game, 2 hours and 17 minutes. Doesn't feel that long until you just know how slow this game ran. We mentioned it like a broken record. Glassboro and Woodbury, from start to finish, that we covered back in September, went 3 hours and 19 minutes. Now, there were a lot of injury breaks in that game. And again, we're not counting for how much time is spent on the field. We are only accounting for the time it spent to get from the first snap of the game to the last snap of the game. Sab's going to run it in for 2. He's got it. So that should put this game, if not away for good, could put this game very close to being out of reach for Salem as the Bulldogs lead this one 22-0. We'll take a quick break. 6:52 left in the fourth quarter. We'll be right back. Six minutes, 52 seconds remain. Glassboro leads by 22 points. They've shut out Salem. It's not what it was this year, 42-0 in the regular season. It wasn't what it was last year, 42-0. But in the playoffs, sometimes you have to make sacrifices while still winning the game. Oh, that punt is muffed, or the kickoff is muffed. Carter can't get it. Now he's going to roll out to the right side. Glassboro's going to swallow him up. He's down on his feet, still rolling. Moving up to the 20, hodgepodge of black and white and blue everywhere. And somehow emerging from the pile was Ahmad Tucker, the freshman, who brings it to about the 20. Glassboro looking for their 24th straight their 24th straight win. The last time they lost a game was when they went 9-4 in Breaker's first year in 2023. They made it to the state final, lost to Mountain Lakes 24-6, and they had another easy path. Beat Keyport 28-0, South Hunterdon 20-0, Shalleck 20-0. They shut out every single team in the South Jersey Group 1 sectional, and they still lost some games that year to Middle Township, Pleasantville, and Pennsgrove. 6:39 left in the fourth quarter. Thomas in the shotgun.
Hand off. Of course, here's a good question. Here's a little food for thought. When the WJFL realigns their divisions next year, where do you put Glassboro? Do you put them in a division with any Group 1 teams? Because that would probably be unfair to the other. It would be unfair to Glassboro to not give them Group 1 competition. But think about it this way. The last time we had a team this dominant was probably Paulsboro under Glenn Howard in the 90s. And Glassboro was dominant that time too. But with a team that was getting national attention and a team that was getting such amount of love and admiration as Thomas is going to go down. He's going to get sacked for a big loss that time for about 10 yards. Simmons emerges from the pile. They'll be back to about the 10-yard line. But when Paulsboro was that good in the 90s, where do you put – I mean, they didn't have to move because they played in small conferences. They played in the traditional Colonial Conference. Now, personally, if you want to know my opinion on the WJFL and on super conferences in general, I'm actually not that much against it. The only thing that I'm against is the fact that it definitely butchered a lot of rivalries, local rivalries. But at the same time, it has allowed teams to play unfamiliar competition, and it keeps it fresh. For example, this year we covered games between Cherry Hill East and Deptford. I couldn't find a single game where those two teams played each other in any other sport. How about ACIT and Triton? That's a bit of a hike, but it makes for an unusual matchup. Thomas is out to the right side. Flag comes in. He dumped off the pass, but now a flag comes in. The pass is incomplete. See where the flag is here. Holding on Salem. But again, the WJFL standings are really organized by how good your team is. It's directly performance-based. And yes, there is some geographical alignment to it. There's two divisions, the Capital and the Valley Division, that are pretty much solely carved out for Central Jersey teams. But pretty much everything else is just dependent on mostly talent. The American Division, the cream of the crop, that's your Winslow, Millville, St. Augustine, Mainland, Cherokee. The Classic, that's another great one. Washington Township, Delsey, Kingsway, Timber Creek, and Williamstown. Some excellent divisions in there. And I really like how the Classic division works out because all 5 of those teams are within 20, 25 minutes of each other. And where Glassboro is in the Diamond, they've got a mix of everything, as that punt is going to roll all the way to the 50. And that is where Glassboro will take over just inside their own 50. But Glassboro in the Diamond Division is mixed with pretty much all Group 1 teams. They've got Salem, Shalleck, Woodbury, who we worked for, Woodstown, and Pennsgrove. Now, Glassboro this year, for all of their non-division games, played schools at least a few groups up. They played Haddonfield, a Group 2, at Rowan University, beat them 36-20. They played Deptford, beat them by 56. That's a Group 3. They beat Cinnaminson by 42. That's a Group 2. I think they might be classified as Group 3 because of where they were in the playoffs this year. They lost to Homedale. But my point is that Glassboro could very well, when the divisional alignments come around next year, could be in a division that doesn't have a lot of small schools at all. Handoff, breaking through. Sab's going to get a first down, gets hit hard, wrestled to the ground. And we'll see if forward progress dictates enough for a first down, and they do say yes, it's a Glassboro first down. That'll line up for a gain of, looks like, 11. They'll be at the 40-yard line. But there's other divisions that really mix and match groups depending on the talent. You know, I look at the Liberty Division more specifically. That's got Lower Cape May, which is Group 2. Middle Township is Group 2. Absegami and Oakcrest are Group 3s. Here comes Sab again, left side. Bit of a scrum at the end of the play. Big hit. Salem, that will get him all the way up to the 5-yard line as Sab got hit hard. There's a Salem player down. A lineman, it looked like. He is down right around where the play started. And the Glassboro trainer coming out to help. They'll be lined up at the 10 during this injury timeout. But, yeah, the Liberty Division, again, you've got a non-public in St. Joe's Hamilton. Cumberland is a Group 4. But then look at where they mix and match geography. Lower Cape May, Middle Township are all your Cape May County schools. Absegami's right around Egg Harbor Township. Oak Crest right around the same area, Mays Landing. Cumberland a little bit further in, but not terribly far. And then you go a little bit further up, you've got the Independence Division. Burlington Township, Delran, those are local rivals. I think that every 2 years, just like the way that the WJFL realigns things, I actually don't mind how it works most of the time. I mean, sure, local rivalries do get shorted a bit, but I think that that's a healthy sacrifice to make for the sake of quality football, because we've seen some great games this season between two teams that normally probably wouldn't play each other. That injured player for Salem was number 54. That was the senior Abdullah Jenkins. And again, with this game pretty much in the books, about 4.5 minutes from being in the books, as a senior walking off injured in your potentially last game, unless Salem opts for any crossover action after the season's over, it's a tough feeling. And when we talk about, I had a lot of high praise for Glassboro, but there's two sides to every coin. You think about those Salem players on the far side, the 10 seniors that some of them will go to college. Chase Parsons said it best in our first game of the day at Cinnaminson. He said, some chapters end here, others begin. And it's a great way to put it. First and goal from the 10-yard line. O'Connell and friends keep it on the ground. And in. Touchdown, Glassboro. There's your dagger. Book your hotels, book your reservations for Friday, November 14th in Glassboro, because the Bulldogs just went up 28-0, 4 scores and 4 minutes to go as they lead the Salem Rams in a shutout effort here at Marvin Slomsky Stadium. They score on a 9-yard rush. Looked like Sab was on the rush that time for the score. And the Bulldogs, in their 13th appearance on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, their first being all the way back in October of 2021. They've been doing this for a while, and a lot of people expected Glassboro to win. Honestly, I would say that if you predicted Glassboro to win 28-0, some would say that you're lowballing Glassboro just because of how they beat Salem in the regular season. They'll do a 2-point conversion. Rolling over the middle, the attempt is no good, and we will stay at 28. Glassboro leads 4:10 to play in regulation. We'll take a quick break as they still keep everybody separated on the goal line. We'll be right back. Glassboro kicks this one off. They lead by 4 scores. 2-point conversion failed. Salem to return. 4 minutes to play. Hodgepodge of players on their feet, and it looks like they trudge everybody forward to about the 35-yard line. As with this crowd mostly fanning out, again, I appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. We've had some great viewership, and I appreciate everybody mostly staying positive in regards to our technical difficulties. Things happen. Like I said, I've been doing this for 4 years. It's not like people think Dan Wilkins Broadcasting is run by some 40-year-old geezer that doesn't have anything better to do. But no, I mean this is my passion. I'm a second-year student at Rowan College of South Jersey. like I said, I'm from the area. I plan to transfer to Rowan University next year. My producer tonight, Chase Barnes, he is a second year at Rowan University in sports communications and media. Got a lot of great group, got a lot of people who are in college or high school, and they're all very passionate about this. So when something goes wrong, I personally take it to heart. So I appreciate everybody staying positive tonight as we divulge into the last 4 minutes of this Salem and Glassboro playoff game. If you'd like to make a contribution to Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, LLC, you can send something or anything to our Venmo at DW Broadcasting. No spaces, no hyphens on the Venmo. That's also in the description of the video. Ball came out and Glassboro emerges. They're running the other way. Spinning on it. He's still got it. It's the lineman. Flag down. But Glassboro comes up with a fumble. There's another flag. There's 2 on the play. That might have just ended Salem's season right there, but let's see what these 2 flags are. They both came up after Glassboro came up with the ball. Let's take a look here. Block in the back on the return. Looks like something on Salem is personal foul on Salem. So it goes both ways there. Again, as much as we can kind of make light of the fact that there have been a lot of flags this game, I do respect the fact that they're calling it by the letter of the law. Because there have been a lot of penalties for what it's worth. And if that's how it's got to be, that's how it's got to be. Here's my question, and maybe it's not a feasible option, but if you've got a sectional final or a state semifinal that Glassboro is involved in, I'm looking at this crowd tonight. It's about half full right now, but it was about 80 to 85% full when we were at our peak this afternoon or this evening. Why not play at Rowan University? They don't play until Saturdays, and they're not using the field at night. That's my thing, is that if you're Rowan University, you can pack the stands, you can get a cut of the ticket sales, get a cut of concessions, and get a lot of bucks that way. That's just my opinion as a businessman, I guess. Salem calls a timeout. They have 1 remaining. For what it's worth, Rowan football this season, 5-2-1. They actually have a tie this year. They tied Case Western Reserve in a 17-17 tie. They said it was a suspended game. And they also lost to number 23, Christopher Newport, in double overtime. Now, their next home game is Saturday, tomorrow, versus Vermont State Castleton. But then after that, the last regular season game that Rowan has scheduled is November 15th. Chase, because you go to Rowan, I'm not sure, you don't need to say anything in the mic. I'm not sure. I didn't know D3 football ended that early, because college football usually goes, and D1 college football, they're playing games all the way into early December, and then they have the bowl games in late December, New Year's Day, the national championships a week or two after the New Year. I'm surprised at how early Division III football regular season ends. So, yeah, their last football game is November the 8th. And the next Glassboro home game would be the sectional final on the 14th. Now, I think that the 14th could definitely hold a Group 1 crowd, but what about a state semifinal? Wow, here comes another good rush, spinning around. Saab staying up with it. Amari Saab spun his way around on 1st and 10 from the 14 after Glassboro's fumble was picked up. Second and 4. For Salem, their season would end at 6-5, which certainly, I'll give Salem credit. Winning 6 games and making the playoffs after going 0-9 last year in the same divisional alignment is extremely admirable. Here comes a handoff. Saab's got it, looking for score number 5. He barrels through and he's in. Touchdown, Glassboro. Devon Barr
rolled through, and the Bulldogs extend their lead in the running clock territory. So the last 3 minutes of this game should be a little bit quicker for the home crowd, and it's 34-0. The limit is 35, so they do have to make a PAT or a two-point conversion to get there. I always get it tripped up whether it's 34 or 35. Unfortunately, we've had a lot of games that have gone that way this year, but not as many as we did last year or 2 years ago. PAT will be attempted, and we've got whistles. Salem jumped the line, and they've also got a penalty against Glassboro. Wonder if they'll try to go for two or if they'll just try to go for a longer PAT. But again, last year, Salem, under the same head coach and in the same Diamond Division, went 0-9. They didn't score double-digit points until week 5. 3 of their first 4 games were shutouts. They lost to Glassboro by 46. They lost games by the margins of 58-19, 42-13, 46-0, 35-0, and we saw them in the last regular season game of the year in a 27-0 final. We have a penalty flag on the play, ladies and gentlemen. The PAT was good. Looks like the flag got picked up. Glassboro leads 35-0. We'll stick it right here. But Salem, 2 years ago, 2-8 under Danny Mendoza. They opened their new field at Salem in 2023. We were there for that first game versus West Deptford before John Emmel got there. But then 2022, Montre Wright was there. He's the new head coach at Haddon Heights, but they were 8-5. And they won the Central Jersey Group 1 championship, lost to Woodbury in the state semifinal, and Woodbury ended up going on to win the state championship, the first state championship in New Jersey in 2022. Glassboro to kick this one off. They'll get a 5-yard advantage after that penalty. So that flag was definitely not picked up. It was just applied to the kickoff. That one goes back. And Salem hangs on to it, so they will just accept the touchback. Again, tomorrow, I say it like a broken record, but I think it's extremely important as the referees called time. Timeout was called by Salem. So they used their second. So Salem called timeout. Oh, I'm sorry, Glassboro called timeout, my bad. Was looking at the referee the wrong way. That is their second of the half. But, yes, like I said, I can't keep stressing it enough. Tune in for Shalleck and Paulsboro tomorrow. Let's break some records, okay? I give my DWB viewers, if you can stick with me through the bad times of having a broken broadcast, stick with us for tomorrow. The viewership record is 656 concurrent, Kingsway at Washington Township. What can a Group 1 school do? Can we make that happen? I'm not trying to beg, I'm just saying. It will be a great game to watch, Shalleck and Paulsboro. A lot of eyes will be on that game for reasons on the field and for reasons off the field. There will be a lot of reasons to watch. And that'll be at 12 noon tomorrow. Pre-game show presented by Harper Driving School starts at 11:50. Right side, Salem will get a rush for about, looks like 15, 20 yards diving forward. They'll get at least something out of it. As the rush taken by the freshman, Kashmir Parsley. So they'll get about 20 yards. And Salem picks up a first down with under 2 minutes to play. But again, tomorrow in the afternoon, we've got a 12 noon kickoff for Shalleck and Paulsboro. We will be there. If another rush gets snuffed at the line of scrimmage on Sunday,
We've got the South Jersey NABA Championship, the National Adult Baseball Association for the South Jersey chapter, between the Sicklerville Phillies and the South Jersey Lightning, 9 a.m. on Sunday. And then Tuesday, JUCO basketball. Just a men's standalone game between the Union Owls and the RCSJ Roadrunners from Sewell, or Deptford Township rather, 6 o'clock, tip-off. And then Wednesday, crossover football, just down the road here from Glassboro in Pittman at Davis Field, between the Audubon Green Wave, my alma mater, and the Pittman Panthers. Friday, we've got youth football in Eastern between the Haddon Township Hawks and the Eastern Vikings. That'll be a gain of about 9. It'll get them right in front of the first down marker. Second and 1 here, or rather 3rd and 1. They are right on top of the midfield stripe. Right at the 50. A rush deep in the shotgun. It'll be enough for a first down, but there's 30 seconds left. Glassboro gathering on the 50. Timmy Breaker getting everybody gathered up. Their assistants getting everybody in the line to go shake Salem's hand. Because for the 3rd straight year, the Glassboro Bulldogs, they dominate. They shut out the Salem Rams at home, just like they did in the regular season. It was a 42-point margin in the regular season, and honestly, after tonight, it was only a 7-point difference. 3, 2, 1, and the Glassboro Bulldogs are moving on. And Shalleck and Paulsboro will await the Glassboro Bulldogs. A 35-0 final. Jack O'Connell with a great performance. And great stuff as always from the Sabb brothers. Player of the game honor really, my opinion, should go to number 3, Amari Sabb. 3 rushing touchdowns for him in the 35-0 win. There was definitely some controversy. I think a lot of people didn't like how the game was called just in terms of the officiating. We saw a lot of penalties. Glassboro was getting downright viscerally upset with how many penalties were called. And honestly, I mean, I can't really blame them that much. I don't like to hamper on the refs that often. Oh, hello, that's a close-up. I don't like to hamper on the refs that much, but I can agree there were a lot of penalties on Glassboro. And whether or not you think that there were ulterior motives to it, I don't think that it's that deep. I just think that the referees were really they were playing their hand very strictly tonight. A lot of letter by the law stuff. They were putting themselves in positions where, everybody it would kind of line up to look like that because there would be a big gain, but then a hold. There would be a big gain, and then a pass interference or a false start or something, just something to call them back. And I can understand the sentiment. Do I personally agree with it? No, but that's just how it is. We can disagree on things. And I think that with Shalleck and Paulsboro waiting tomorrow, Glassboro might be lasered in on that game because they have to stay focused. I mean, the thing about Paulsboro is that even if they persevere tomorrow with 16 players down, 6 starters out, they're going to be full strength no matter what on Friday. So if Paulsboro beats Shalleck tomorrow morning, which we'll be there for, Glassboro is going to be facing a full-strength team no matter what, unless something else happens during the Shalleck-Paulsboro game that we don't know about just yet. But what I'll say to wrap up this is that Salem did not play that bad of a game. And I give them props, and I think that the court of public opinion should give them props for turning around an 0-9 season into a 6-5 playoff berth, road playoff win season in the second year of Kemp Carr as a head coach. And he's very familiar with Salem County. Again, grew up in Salem, played for the Rams, formerly coached for Penns Grove before John Emmel got there. He's a very experienced head coach. And again, another former collegiate defensive back over at Montclair State. So Salem definitely played their hand. I don't know how much they could have controlled, though, with how good Glassboro was tonight. I mean, it's more business as usual. Glassboro expects this at this point. When they were up 14-0 at half, I quite literally said that it was below the standard of Glassboro to only be up by 2 scores just because of how good this team is. And Salem, they shouldn't hang their heads low. I think that they will have a much better hand in terms of divisional alignment next year. If they had back-to-back losing seasons, I don't think they would. I think maybe a Royal or a Patriot division might have been in their way. But they're right now in the diamond. They're in a good slot. They've got a lot of Group 1, a lot of great Group 1 competition on their plate, and Salem really turned around the card. So even though that they lost tonight, even though that they lost by 35 points, it should be noted that they have come a long way in Kempkar's short tenure, but now successful tenure at Salem. They beat Kip Cooper 47-0 on the road to get to this point. So yes, it's a very jarring shock to go from 47-0 win on the road to now playing a team that's won 24 straight games and losing 35-0. It is not easy, but Salem came a long way to get here versus a very tough Glassboro team, and I commend them for that. For Glassboro, though, it's more of the same. Amari Saab did an amazing job. 3 rushing touchdowns for him tonight. I believe actually 2 rushing touchdowns and 1 receiving touchdown. Glassboro is just so well-rounded. For a Group 1 team, they could go up against almost anybody, and they could win. I think that they could play some Group 4s and Group 5s, and they could win. Do they need to cut down on the mistakes? Yes. And that will be is especially important next week versus either Shallock or Paulsboro, because who knows what's going to happen. Does Glassboro make the same amount of mistakes that they do tonight? Do the referees stay stringent against the Bulldogs? I don't know. There's no ulterior motives here, but I think that with Glassboro, they do have to watch their back. They do have to make sure that they are not getting complacent, because teams that play to 24 straight wins, if you've been here for the whole ride, they can get complacent. Not specifically Glassboro, but just teams in history. How many times do we see in the NFL teams get 15, 16 wins in a season and then they fall apart at the end because they got too complacent? I don't think that's going to happen to Glassboro, but time will only tell in 7 days. That'll be all for us tonight on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. Thank you to everybody for sticking up with everything that went wrong today. I appreciate all of your support wholeheartedly. From our entire crew, our social media coordinator, Haley Mejia, our graphics crew, Gavin Van Rel, Caleb Lane, and Carson Rosso, my producer of Rowan University, Chase Barnes. I'm Dan Wilkins. We'll see you at 12 noon tomorrow for the other card of South Jersey Group 1 in the semis. It's the Shallock Cougars and the Paulsboro Red Raiders. That's all for us tonight. Glassboro shuts out Salem 35-0, and they're on their way to their 3rd straight sectional final. Have a good one, folks.